In the ongoing, centuries-old quest to make our bodies strong, muscular, and tempered for survival, we've created some pretty exciting training methods. From the barbell to the mace club, the dumbbell to the kettlebell, machines with every different kind of resistance profile imaginable to the treadmill, today's athlete has a lot of options. Anyone who wants to dramatically change their body needs look no further than the nearest gym, and given enough time, consistency, and effort, they're likely to come out the other side a completely different person. For most individuals, this is the likely path. Get the gym membership, train hard, and make some gains. Most, though, will never realize it wasn't the only one available. Hidden along the way, behind a large outcropping of moss-covered stone and old-growth trees lies a fork in the road, a second path, visible only to those with an eye to see. While the contemporary gym is effective and can be very enjoyable, it's caused many of us to forget the truth that lies at the heart of physical exercise. Tension is tension, and the body doesn't care where it comes from. Our desire to create new and exciting methods for improving ourselves doesn't negate what came before. Modern gym equipment works, there's no doubt in that, but it isn't necessary. You don't need a gym membership or the latest large company-funded study on the effectiveness of one rep range versus another to completely transform yourself. You don't need the well-traveled path. Rather than the gym, why not train outside? The best training routines come with some kind of imagery attached, something that gives you that extra bit of motivation to keep going. A picture, a quote, a backstory of some kind. In keeping with the spirit of old paths and densely packed woods, here's something cool to think about. It's said that creatures of magic find power in places where the elements meet. An ocean beach bordered by large stone bluffs, a mountain tree growing at the very edge of a small stream, a desert's end where the last bit of wind dissipates and the greenery begins. Today I'd like to share with you an exercise program based on this concept. Somewhere well along that less traveled path lies a clearing, a place where things meet. Rather than a typical gym setting, this program is centered on three natural elements: the stone, the tree, and the hill. When seeking to create an effective training routine, it helps to think in terms of human movement. There are many different human movement patterns, some found in nearly every training program, some only there in a select few. And this program will focus on 8 of them: the vertical push and pull, the horizontal push and pull, the squat, the hinge, the carry, and sprinting. Once you know the patterns, it's just a matter of finding exercises that fit. Here are a few ways to do that in the natural environment. It's my belief that lifting some kind of external object will always be an important part of any training routine. Becoming better able to move yourself is great, but developing the strength to move something that isn't yourself is great too. When searching for heavy objects in nature, stones are usually the best choice. Much like a heavy sandbag, they're awkward, difficult to maneuver, and develop strength in a way nothing else will. Heavy logs are also a good option and come with their own unique set of challenges to overcome. Feel free to use one or the other or both, and if for some reason your area doesn't have any stones or logs, you can use sandbags instead. Moving forward, I'll use the word stone, but just know these other things work just as well. Looking back at the list of basic movement patterns, stones are best suited for training your hinge, squat, and carry patterns, as well as the vertical press and the horizontal pull. Like a barbell deadlift, every time you lift a stone from the ground, you'll be working the hinge pattern. Unlike a deadlift, however, lifting a stone comes with some additional steps: the lift to the lap and from the lap to chest height. Moving a stone from the ground up to your chest will develop every muscle associated with the basic hinge: the glutes, hamstrings, every part of the midsection, the lower, mid, and upper back and traps, and because the object will likely be awkward to lift, you'll also get a lot of work for your grip, forearms, and biceps too. Once you have the object held at chest height, you can begin working with the squat or the carry. In this way, the patterns build on each other. To carry or squat, you first need to hinge, and if you work with the hinge, you might as well squat or carry. The squat is pretty straightforward, and will most likely closely mimic a Zercher squat like you might do in the gym. While more posterior chain dominant than a typical high bar back squat, the exercise will develop every part of your lower body, while also adding much more work for the upper back and the core. To perform the carry, simply hold that weight against your chest and start walking, focusing on maintaining a solid brace in your core as you do. More than anything, a heavy carry is a test of willpower. Push for as long as you can. Every step you take means more strength and muscle. Heavy carries build the biceps, core, and every inch of your back, as well as offering some basic work for the calves. That takes care of 3 of the 8 movement patterns. Next we have the press, the vertical push, and the row, the horizontal pull. Pressing a stone overhead is probably the most badass exercise in existence. I'm not sure exactly why this is, but I believe there's something very deep within all of us that just makes us want to put things overhead. It's the ultimate show of power and mastery over an object. It's incredibly difficult, and only those with true strength can do it. Working with the movement is worth every ounce of effort you put into it. The press builds tremendous total body strength and works your shoulders, triceps, upper back, chest, and core. Rowing a stone is also very effective. Unlike with traditional gym implements, you'll be forced into a completely bent over position from the start because the stone rests directly on the ground, rather than being raised up by plates, which adds a lot of extra work for the spinal erectors and hamstrings, and makes you strong in the most vulnerable position there is. Rows also carry over better than most anything else to lifting a stone from the ground, which again shows how all of these movements build on each other. The tree is all about vertical pulling movements, pull-ups. Any program without pull-ups is seriously missing out. They lie at the heart of what makes a training program what it is. What's the point in having the strength to lift heavy objects if you can't lift yourself? The tree will act as a pull-up bar. Most trees will have a branch you can grab onto, but if you're in an aspen or birch or some type of straight tree forest like you see in the video here, you can do pull-ups between 2 of them. I highly recommend trying this if you get the opportunity. It has to be my favorite pull-up variation of all time. Pull-ups primarily work the back, the biceps, and the abs, but because trees are typically more difficult to hold onto, they add a lot of work for your forearms and grip as well. The awkward nature of tree pull-ups also requires more stabilization and turns ordinary pull-ups into something of a complete upper body movement. You'll be glad you did them. Finally, we move on to the hill. This is where we'll do our sprinting. I can't say enough about the power of the exercise. It adds a lot of muscle to your frame, keeps you lean, improves work capacity, makes you fast and powerful. Sprinting is the thing missing from most training programs. The problem with sprinting for the uninitiated is its potential harsh effects on the body. Heading outside and going all out after not doing so for a long time is a recipe for injury. It's just too much force and you won't be prepared. Using a hill, turning sprints into hill sprints, lowers the barrier to entry. The hill slows you down, lessening those impactful forces going through your body, and also puts more tension on the muscles. For general performance, I believe it's the better option when compared with sprinting on flat ground. It's worth spending at least a few weeks slowly building up to it, but eventually sprinting uphill with everything you have is one of the best things you can do for yourself. One session working with the exercise and you'll feel a change, as if suddenly you remember you're an athletic person, that the wild speed you had as a child never actually left you. It's just been lying dormant, waiting for you. Sprinting out of the way, one final pattern remains, the horizontal push. This pattern is all about the push-up. Every kind of push-up you can think of. Basic high-rep push-ups, plyometric push-ups, dive bombers, diamonds, pseudo-planche push-ups, pike push-ups for more vertical pressing work. All of these things can be done on flat ground or as decline versions of themselves on the hill to increase difficulty. You don't need a bench or a cable machine to build your chest. Push-ups are time-tested and work at least as well as anything else. Every variation builds the chest, shoulders, and triceps, and doing your push-ups in a decline position on the hill adds more work for the upper chest as well. Now that we have exercises for each movement pattern, we can set up our program. There are endless ways you could do this, probably thousands of different complete setups you could create using these basic exercises. But for today, I've chosen to keep this one minimalist with a focus on pressing things overhead for the simple reason that being out in nature just makes me want to press things over my head just to see if I can. This program will work best if you're able to find 2 or 3 stones or logs or sandbags, one lighter, one medium, and one heavy. The program will follow a full body alternating ABA setup. Exercise 1 is the push press, done for 5 to 15 single attempts. The exact number will depend on how heavy the object you're pressing is. Every rep should begin on the ground and end overhead. Stop yourself at either 15 reps or when you start missing attempts. Rest roughly 60 seconds between reps. During that rest time, walk over to your tree and perform 3 pull-ups as explosively as you can. If possible, rotate grips every set, but any pull-up variation will do. Just be sure to do them with power in mind. Over time, your goal should be doing your reps more explosively. This is a viable form of progressive overload. Exercise 2 is more pressing work, and there are 2 options you can choose from. Option 1 is using a lighter stone or log or sandbag and doing 3 sets of max reps on the basic overhead press. Option 2 is there if you manage to find a heavy log. With that heavy log, do 3 sets of max reps on the single arm alternating lever press. This is very similar to a landmine press like you might do with a barbell. Lift up one end of the log, press it with one arm as fast and explosively as you're able so it leaves your hand, and catch it with your other hand. This exercise adds more coordination to that vertical pushing pattern, and like with sprinting, it just makes you feel more athletic. It also adds more work for the upper chest and core, which is never a bad thing. If the log isn't heavy enough, doing the exercise on your knees or from a kneeling position will increase the difficulty. Exercise 3 is the heavy bear hug carry. Lift your heaviest object up to your chest and carry it for 3 sets of max distance. Somewhere in the 30 seconds to 1 minute range is a good goal to aim for. After the heavy carries, it's time to sprint. Move to your hill and perform 5 to 10 sets of roughly 5 to 10 seconds. Volume and duration will depend on both your prior experience and the size of the hill. If you haven't done any sprinting in a while, stick to the lower end of that range. If you're more experienced with the exercise, stop either when you feel yourself slowing down noticeably or when you reach 10 sets. Exercise 5 is the diamond push-up. One of the primary goals with this program is to increase pressing strength, and strong triceps are a big part of that. Set a timer for 10 minutes and rep out as many diamond push-ups as you can in that time. Try to increase your reps every workout while maintaining perfect form. If the full diamond push-up is tough on your wrists, keep your hands a couple inches apart. Just be sure to use the same technique every workout to accurately track progress. The workout will end with a lightweight Zercher carry for time. Pick up your smallest object, hold it in a perfect elbows-high Zercher position, and start walking until your strength runs out. This may be 5 minutes, it may be 20. If you can go for longer than 20 minutes in that full Zercher position, it's time to move on to a heavier object. I recently made an entire video on the benefits of long-distance carries if you're interested. Workout B starts with a superset of squats and rows. Perform 3 reps on the squat and move directly to 3 rows. Do this superset 10 times. Every rep should be done with max power in mind. Seek to improve your explosiveness over time and move on to something heavier when your power level exceeds your ability to maintain control of the object. Exercise 2 is the heavy bear hug carry. Perform 3 sets of max distance. Exercise 3 is pull-ups. Just as with the diamond push-ups in workout A, set a timer for 10 minutes and do as many perfect reps as you can in that time. Try to improve that number every workout. After the 10-minute pull-up set, do the same for pike push-ups. Set a timer for 10 minutes and do as many perfect reps as you can. The pike push-ups will build shoulder strength and the pull-ups will build your lats, both of which will translate to a stronger press. End the workout with a lightweight, long-distance shoulder carry. Set a timer for 20 minutes and go. Rest as needed during those 20 minutes and try to maintain a balance between shoulders throughout. Move on to a heavier object once you can complete all 20 minutes without resting. The ABA program will alternate each week. Week 1, Monday A, Wednesday B, Friday A. Week 2, Monday B, Wednesday A, Friday B, and so on. Take a full deload week on either week 5 or week 7, depending on how you feel. And that's it. Move on to heavier objects as you become stronger and keep going. Head out to the woods and have fun. One last thing, if you can't make it outside to train, you can do this program in the gym using traditional implements if you'd like, though at the very least, I highly recommend using sandbags for the lifting exercises. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.